I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air with breaking news in New Orleans. Local police are calling it an act of terror after a man drove a pickup truck through a crowd on Bourbon Street, killing 10 people and injuring dozens. They say the driver then came out of the truck and opened fire on officers, injuring 2 before being shot and killed. The FBI says improvised devices were also discovered in and around the scene of the attack, and those devices are now being tested. The White House also says President Biden has been briefed on the attack and has been in touch with the mayor of New Orleans. I want to bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky. Aaron, what's the latest of the timeline of how this all unfolded?
This was at about 3:15 a.m. local time. There was still a crowd on Bourbon Street, a mix of tourists and local residents, when the white pickup truck turned from Canal Street onto Bourbon Street, was able to get around barriers meant to prevent a vehicle ramming attack, accelerated and very, very fast, plowed into this crowd of pedestrians, killing at least 10, injuring roughly 3 dozen. Initially, police responded to the first call for an active shooter because there were gunshots. When the suspect exited the vehicle, he shot at responding New Orleans police officers. 2 officers were struck by gunfire, taken to the hospital in stable condition. In addition, improvised devices were found at the scene. The authorities have since tested them and determined that at least one of them appeared to be a viable device, so it adds a degree of complexity to this evolving situation. Right now, police are scanning the French Quarter using drones, cameras, and other technology to see if there are any additional possible devices. The ones they have found are currently being destroyed.
And I want to bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, because, Pierre, the big question when you think about a day like New Year's Eve, when you know Bourbon Street is going to be heaving full of people, is how does something like this happen? How does a truck even get close enough for this attack to unfold?
Well, the police superintendent said that the suspect was able to get around the barriers. Now, that is a flaw, obviously, that you cannot have in a situation like this. And, Diane, to emphasize what's going on here, the FBI has taken the lead in this case. They are now investigating this as an act of terrorism. That's official statement from the FBI. They are very concerned about the circumstances around this, the fact that the suspect had a weapon, the fact that they found at least one viable explosive device, that this was clearly an intentional act. I'm being told by multiple sources that they're looking at the possibility that the suspect may have come into the country recently. Again, very fluid situation. They're also looking at the potential for any kind of ties to ISIS. Again, it's very early in the investigation. Nothing has been finalized, but this is being treated as the highest priority right now. The Attorney General has been briefed. President of the United States has been briefed about this. The FBI director directly involved in this case as well. Again, so many people injured, at least 10 dead and 20-plus people injured. Again, law enforcement officials have been on a high alert really since October of 2023 after the attack, horrific attack in Israel. And the FBI director and his counterparts have been warning month after month that we are in a heightened environment where virtually every sector of terrorism was on fire, the potential for acts of violence. So this now codifies what we've seen from earlier this summer with 2 attacks on former President Trump, then candidate Trump. Now we have a situation where the FBI is looking at this as a potential act of terrorism. Resources are being flooded into that area. They are now trying to do a search, a background check on the gun. Where was the gun purchased? Any information they can find out about the vehicle. They're searching surveillance cameras to see if they can get a timeline in terms of how the vehicle moved through that particular area and through that particular crowd. But again, cold-blooded act of murder. Law enforcement treating this with the highest priority.
Oh, another sacred Sunday.